So good afternoon, everyone. We are doing the chapter Socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution. Until now, we have discussed about that how Russia became a socialist country. Now, we'll discuss about making a socialist society. So before starting this, we will just discuss about that is how what changes were occurred in Russia after the socialism. So whenever we are talking about what steps taken by the Bolshevik government on Soviet Union, because now no word of Russia, we will use the word USSR or we can say Soviet Union. That means group of countries. The first thing is we will discuss about the positive aspect because every coin has both the sides, positive or negative. So first we will discuss about the positive. Industries and banks were nationalized. At that time, I told you the meaning of nationalized, when everything is in the hands of the government and peasants permitted to cultivate land that was socialized. That means land was, everybody was having the rights on land. Centralized planning introduced and targets set up for 5-year period. If you remember, in India also, we are having a socialist pattern, and that's why initial stage of development, अगर हम इंडिया की बात करते हैं, at that time, India also adopted those 5-year plans. Economic growth took place. Industrial production increased by 100% in case of coal, oil, and steel. And a process of centralized planning was introduced. Officials set targets for a 5-year period. On this basis, they made the 5-year plans. The government fixed all prices to promote industrial growth. During the first two plans, that is 1927 to 1932 and 1933 to 1938, centralized planning led to economic growth and industrial production increased, as we have discussed. New factory cities came up. Not only industries, along with this, factory workers and their families, that was also got opportunities. Expanding schooling system was developed with a motive of education for all. Arrangements were made for factory workers and peasants to enter universities. Crèches were established in factories for the children of women workers. Cheap public health care was provided. Model living quarters were set up for the workers. And the effect of all this was, however, uneven, since the government had limited resources. And this is the problem of the economy, because we are having unlimited wants, but resources are limited. But now we will discuss about the negative aspects of this system. Rapid construction led to poor working conditions. Workers lived hard lives. As a result, there were 550 stoppages of work in the first year alone. The workers lacked basic facilities. In winters, during extreme cold, at 40 degrees below temperature. People had to climb down from fourth floor and dash across the street to use a toilet. Now you can easily understand the situation of a workers. So a socialist society was established, but some negative effects were also there. Now we'll discuss about our next topic is related with Stalin. This is our next topic, most important topic of the chapter. When we are talking about the Stalin, it comes in our mind, who was Stalin? Stalin succeeded to power after Lenin. First name we have heard, that is Lenin, leader of the Bolshevik party. And after Lenin's death, who succeeded the power? That is Stalin. And the period of the early planned economy. Planned economy means 5-year plan. The period of early planned economy in Soviet Russia is linked to disasters of collectivization of agriculture. As the topic speaks everything, Stalin and collective farming. Collective means all the people will, all the peasants will join all the farms. So now we will discuss about this thing. By 1927 to 28, the towns in Soviet Russia were facing an acute problem of grain supplies. The government fixed prices at which grain must be sold. But the peasants refused to sell their grain to government buyers at these prices. Stalin, who succeeded Lenin, believed the rich peasants and traders were holding stocks in the hope of higher prices. Party members toured grain producing areas, enforced grain collection, raided kulaks, that means the rich section, rich farmers, but still shortages continued. As shortages continued, decision was taken to collectivize farms. So now we will discuss about what was the collectivization policy of Stalin. Collectivization, the policy was introduced by Stalin in Russia, and under this policy, land was taken away from the peasants, kulaks eliminated, and large state-controlled farms or collective farms called kolkhas established. After 1917, land had been given to peasants, but they were small sized farms that could not be modernized. To develop modern farms and run them along industrial lines using modern techniques and machinery, it was necessary to eliminate kulaks, take away land from peasants, and establish state-controlled large farms. From 1929, the government forced all peasants to cultivate on collective farms. The bulk of the land and implements were transferred to the ownership of collective farms. Peasants worked on the land and kulaks. Profits were shared. That means everybody will work and the profits will be shared by all equally. Many peasants resisted collectivization and destroyed their livestock. Between 1929 to 1931, the number of cattle stock fell to one-third. Those who resisted were severely punished, deported, or exiled. Peasants argued they were not against socialism, but did not want to work on collective farms. For a variety of reasons, Stalin's government allowed some independent cultivation, but treated such cultivators unsympathetically. Though collectivization was introduced and the aim to increase production, it did not immediately lead to increase in production. And by 1937, almost all cultivable land was brought under collective farm, while initially the peasants were given an option to join or not to join. Later it became compulsory. Thousands of wealthy peasants executed when they tried to withhold their land from collectivization. Many others were imprisoned or exiled.